Hello there, folks. This is a video I think you all will appreciate knowing about. Because you see, this has to do with Halloween. Do you know what Halloween is? Of course you do. Everybody knows what Halloween is. So I'm going to give you an experience of having been to a haunted house in 1978. And perhaps when I'm finished talking to you, you might know exactly what I was speaking of in my experience. In 1973 or 78, I had an experience of seeing an actual haunted place that was operated by a local college AC or JC organization. It was very well orchestrated because it actually gave you the chance to go inside an old home that had been refurbished. They had put ropes around the outsides of the home for parking of cars. They had refurbished the insides of the house, even to the attic, with various type Halloween gimmicks. The actual floor of the first floor of the house was designed to have, of all things, an old swimming pool that was inside the house. Had been placed over it a wooden type of crossover bridge, and they put flashing strobe lights into it. And it certainly was scary because you had to run all the way across it. And if you did not go across fast enough, they would have ghosts to run after you. And that's not very fun, believe me. So I had the opportunity to go to this Halloween place. And beyond the scariness of the different gimmicks they put, this was 1978, and it was even before George Lucas had created the idea that Luke Skywalker would fight Darth Vader. And he had various Star Wars silhouettes in the rooms that were around the outer edges of the inside of this haunted house, and one of them showed Darth Vader fighting Luke Skywalker, and that was in 1978. So there is no way that he could have known that they were going to have Luke to do this. And yet they did. They knew that it was going to happen before it did happen. And it was very, very scary, believe me. When I was waiting to go inside of the haunted house, actually, they had a window at the top of the in the attic of this haunted place, this haunted mansion, and they had a person who obviously stuck their head out the window, and he was in a mask, a Halloween mask similar to this one, and he was looking down at me and he waved. Well, when I got up there to the top of the attic in the ride, I asked one of the employees afterwards, I said, did you guys have anybody up here before the place opened who was waving to customers outside in the lines? And they said no. Nobody has been up in the attic all night. And that kind of shocked me because I thought, now wait a minute, how could there not be somebody here if I saw them myself? And they never could explain that. So that's one of those kinds of experiences where you feel like you saw something that you didn't expect to see, and then they confirmed it and said that it really didn't happen that way at all, because if it had, they would have seen something, wouldn't they? They would have seen somebody standing there, or have said, yeah, we had somebody up here scaring kids into coming inside for the ride. And they certainly didn't do that, did they? They couldn't confirm it or deny it, but then they didn't say anything else either, so who could say what it might have been that I saw that night. That's the first experience I had of seeing an actual haunted place that they set it up. I'm not quite sure of where it was. I don't even know where it was, but I do know that I remembered seeing it. And when I got finished getting there with my other classmates, I thought, boy, this is going to be a great place to come, because look at all these gimmicks they've got already. Scaring kids, frightening them into believing that they're going to be tricked every second they're there, but it was all inside a house. There was never part of it I can remember outside. It was always just in a building of some kind, an old house that they had, obviously they redecorated it. They put every kind of Halloween gimmick you could think of, and it was to keep you, you know, scared. It kept you frightened the whole time you were in that Halloween ride. Trying to think of the other experience that I had dealing with haunted places. The only thing that comes to my mind is the experience I had when I went to we came back from Freeport, Nova Scotia one year, and we were the original owners of this house, and we went to the to an old home that was in Freeport, Nova Scotia, and this guy had died in 1963 in the house. And anyway, he went to the hospital and he died. And then about 10 years later, we went up there to the house, and we went in and we got an old lamp that he had owned. And in the process of getting this lamp, we took it back home with us to Georgia, and started experiencing odd things in the house within a week afterwards. We saw, well, we first of all, we heard footsteps. We heard footsteps in the house. Go upstairs and check, and there was nobody up there. And then later we went to the next step of these encounters, where my mother felt a cold spot in the hallway where this sea lamp had been. And then the last experience was I saw this apparition of this individual, whose name was Carmen Nass, in the hallway of where this lamp was. And I kept pinching myself in the arm. I thought, well, I got to find out if this is real. Am I making this up? Am I dreaming this? And I wasn't, because I remember I never saw it again, and I never did see it during the time that we were in the house. So I don't know really of what this was that I saw, but I know it had to have been his spirit, because it very gradually floated into my view of my eyesight, and I looked at it and I thought, this cannot be a figment of my imagination, because there were no headlights outside the house, but you saw the person's face, you saw the hat he was wearing, and when you saw this thing, you thought, no, this cannot be anything but a human being. It cannot be some kind of a reflection of light. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and it couldn't have been any other light source that could have made this apparition appear, except that it was really him. And he just looked at me for a while in the hallway, and I tried to wake my parents up, and they wouldn't have anything to do with it. I think they just figured, oh, he's just trying to harass us, so they never woke up. And eventually he did move farther down the hallway, and I lost sight of him. And I never saw him again after that. I mean, that was just like, I can't believe I saw this, but I did. And that's been my experience of seeing a ghost, was when I was living in College Park, Georgia. The house is actually still there, but there's a black family who lives in it, and they will not discuss what's actually still in the house. If they're willing to say anything, it's simply, get out of my yard, stay off my property, and they won't talk about it. They won't say anything to this day. They won't talk about what is still in that house. And I don't know of why that is, except that they might be experiencing things in the house themselves right now, and they don't want people to know. But it's off of Burdette Road in College Park, Georgia, on a small street called Lantern Lane, and it's brown and has white shutters, and it's a two-story house. And if anybody's ever been in it, I would say try videotaping something or anything you might experience in that house, because there's still somebody there. I know there is. Carmen Nass is there, and there's probably several other ghosts, because I don't know how many other people lived there after we did, but could have been vacant for a while and other people died in the home or something else. But Carmen's ghost is still in that house to this day. I know it is, because when we moved, he didn't go with us. We never experienced those things again. So, oh yeah, one other experience. I forgot about this. This is why I did the video. 1978, we had the chance to go to one of these kind of pathetic type Halloween parties, and it was designed for children, and it was funded and operated by United Airlines, and they had these boxes at the entrance, and it had little signs under each one saying gouged eyeballs, you know, monkey nut guts and stuff like that, and you put your hands into these holes and you felt all these weird things, and all it was just they put various kinds of fruits and vegetables in these holes, and they smashed it up and made you believe that it was something else. And I know it was a gimmick, but it was still neat to have gone to something like that where you could experience something scary. And the only scary event of my existence of that party, remembering it, was they had a dartboard set up, and we were standing there watching this guy shooting darts, and decided I didn't want to do it anymore, so I was walking out of the conference room, and this kid shoots he shot a dart in my direction, and it actually stuck in my arm, and I was able to pull it out of my arm, and I kept telling my dad, I said, you know, we should go to the hospital because this has got rust on it and it might give me tetanus. And Dad said to me, nah, don't worry about that, that's not going to happen. And I never did get it, but I mean, it was still scary that somebody would shoot something directly at you, and I always remembered that. So folks, that's my experiences of Halloween ghosts, and experiences of seeing things, and thanks for letting me share with you guys about my personal events. And if you're wondering what the mask is, this is Baylock from Star Trek, and the little midget kid that pretended that he was an alien who had all these others. That's what this is. This is a Baylock mask. So thank you for coming today.